Hey, what's going on, champs? I'm Aaron Deliosa. Welcome to an Immigrant's Life podcast, my podcast about immigrants, immigration, and everything in between. Today, our guest is a friend of mine. I met him through my old work. We saw each other from being young men to becoming family men. Please welcome Kaith Chan.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Good, you, my man?
Pretty good.
Thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let's start from the start. Where are you from originally?
Hong Kong.
You were born in Hong Kong?
Yes.
Oh, so your whole family moved here when?
To be precise, 1989. I was 6 years old.
6 years old? Okay, so you don't really remember anything.
A little bit. Just before I left, I graduated from kindergarten. So, 6 years old, that's around that age. I was heading to grade 1 in Hong Kong. So when I got here, I started in welcome class and straight to grade 1 after.
And you had to go to an English school?
No, public French. Yeah, a French public school. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we left right before 1997, which 97 is a big influential year because that's when Hong Kong is going back to China, So we left just before.
Yeah, I remember that year because my mom used to work in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Yeah, she actually worked there for, I think, 10 years, dude.
Wow.
Like she left when I was 9 and she leave for 2 years, comes back for a visit for a month, and then leaves again for 2 years. And that goes on till I was, I don't know how old.
Okay.
Till she moved here in Canada, and that's when we finally got together.
Okay.
But I grew up without my mom.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was hard, but, what are you going to do? So who thought of moving here?
I think it was both my parents. Yeah. But I think mostly my dad. My dad, he's the man of the house, so of the family. So my mom would just follow. My mom, she left her family. On my dad's side, came here first. So my grandfather, he was the first one who came to Canada, and then everybody followed. So our family consisted of my dad has 2 brothers. He's the middle guy. So he has an older brother, and he's the middle, and two younger sisters. So the family of 5. So my grandfather came here first, and then brought my uncle, the eldest, and then everybody followed. And we were the last ones to come. Yeah, but on my mom's side, they're all still in Hong Kong.
They don't want to come here.
Ever since we left, no. They came visit, have a vacation, but home is really to them in Hong Kong.
Makes sense. It's hard to leave,
Yeah. We, I think the reason was just for newer opportunities, and plus, my dad's family is here, so my mom kind of followed. Well, she has to, but yeah. So we packed our bags, but it was planned. It wasn't last minute or anything. It was planned. We went. Yeah, it was organized. It was pre-planned, so it wasn't like, "Hey, let's go." We thought about it. They thought about it before coming, so they made decisions.
Yeah, it wasn't rushed.
No. Yeah, my dad was the only one working. My mom was teaching. She taught kindergarten. So when we moved there, my dad worked as a technician. He got his diploma in Hong Kong as a repair guy. Well, actually, no, not a repair guy. He worked for a broadcast company.
Oh,
broadcast like a CBC, but a Hong Kong style. It's called HKB or TVB. If you Google that, TVB is like the major Hong Kong broadcasting and television network. So he worked for them. He did a lot of footages. He shot a lot of stuff for the news, for documentaries, and he got his diploma in repair. So that's yeah.
He was a cameraman?
Yeah, he was a cameraman. Wow. He did some editing. He went out with the crew. Did lighting, and he worked in film.
That's cool, man. And he didn't continue it here.
Nope.
Did he want to continue or?
I don't know. I never asked. That's a good question. But I think, to support the family, he really needed to work right away to feed us and to support us. So I don't think, I guess he had his experience and he liked doing it, but then his real degree is in, diploma in repair.
You touch on it quickly, but I would like to explain for people that doesn't know when you mentioned that when the British passed Hong Kong to China. Do you know anything about that? Can you explain further on that?
Basically, I don't know all the specifics. Hong Kong belonged to the British after the war, and they had to. The agreement was that they have to keep their style and all the culture and everything for a certain amount of years. And when it's passed on back to China in 1997, everything has to remain the same. For another, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 years. So a lot of people in Hong Kong didn't like that. Some did. So I kind of, maybe created some separation. But it was a big event because people were already used to the culture and all that. The language, the English, and the Chinese, like here, French and English. In Hong Kong, it's Cantonese and English, but when it went back to China, the Mandarin speaking, kind of blended back in, to Hong Kong. So I guess there's more traveling between the two locations, more people, more Mandarin speaking people. But Mandarin became kind of like the norm, Cantonese people understood. It's just they don't talk much in that language, as far as I know. Anyways, from what I.
My mom speaks Mandarin.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes when we go to a Chinese restaurant and the Chinese servers are talking shit, she'll just like, "Hey, yo, I know who you're talking about, man," and they're like, get shocked.
Well, I saw a picture of your mom, and she looks very like Chinese,
Filipinos and Chinese are like,
very
they're
close.
Intertwined, very close. Food, everything,
Yeah, we look alike too, so.
Exactly, you mentioned about coming here. Do you know anything what or your family had to go through for the process? Was it easy to come here?
I think it needed some reference, a referral kind of thing, like a sponsor.
Okay.
So I think my grandfather or my uncle sponsored us to come, but it wasn't a difficult process. From what they explained, went smoothly. I think the immigration was common. I don't know what
Canada was open then.
Was. Yeah, exactly. And if I can add, my grandfather, he passed away a couple of years ago, and he, thank you. He really liked Canada. He really disliked Hong Kong for some reason. When he arrived there, he sold coffee.
Okay.
He had a tray, and he went around everywhere in Montreal selling coffee.
Wow.
And that's how he started to get all of us in Hong Kong to Canada. But he started as selling coffee.
I love the stories, man. Thank you for sharing that.
That's
a beautiful story, man. I love people like that. They came here and they just find way to support themselves and support family from back home.
Yeah, yeah.
My mom used to sell T-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
She used to go to St. Eustache flea market and buy those shirts that says Canada.
Yeah.
Or
like souvenirs,
or whatever. Yeah, souvenir shirts, because she'll sell it to other Filipinos, and other Filipinos will send it back to the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
And the Filipinos loves that. They eat that up, man.
It's vintage.
Yeah, that's what my mom did to support herself and our family, And you mentioned you went to school here. Which school did you go to?
I think it was Montreal Element. I don't recall, but it was downtown. We lived downtown on Saint Denis. So it was one of those Montreal School Board.
Close to Chinatown?
No, close to Sherbrooke Metro.
Okay.
Yeah, on the Orange Line. Yeah, I remember.
Okay, and you growing up here, grade school was good. obviously high school, it starts, people are breaking up, getting into cliques. Did you ever feel you were racially discriminated for being Chinese, being ethnic?
Nope, not in elementary school or in high school, but I did have issues in high school. A lot of people call me names because I was small. Well, many Asians are small. There are very few Asians who are Chinese people who are very tall. So I'm calling names that have a petite, small head. So that kind of frustrated me, but nothing racial. If there were, I think if I remember, will be something really nonsense. That I just don't care about. I mean, it's really just about me. I mean, because I'm small. It could be linked to because I'm Chinese, but no, I've never been calling names or no for sure because my name it wasn't Kaith. They wouldn't call me Kaith. They would call me by my translation name. And it was a Kaiths Chan. But my documents, my birth certificate, when my mom put my name, she put Kaith as the last word in my first name. So it would be my Chinese name, and then you have my first name at the end. So when teachers call people up, for the taking attendance, they don't say the last word of the first name. They say the first word. So it was like shampoo Kaith, and I would be called name as in shampoo or because they didn't hear it properly, or the teacher didn't spell it correctly. So there's that. It could be linked to a bit of racism, but it didn't really bother me. It's my name. I'm proud of being Chinese. It's just that maybe it was that little mistake that my mom did. She didn't think of putting Kaith as the first word. One of the stories, I actually talk about my name. My name is Kaith. Where that comes from is from the name Faith. But as everybody know, Faith is a girl's name. So the story is when I was born. Before I was born, my mom tested positive for a German disease called rubella. It was a very common disease, and the doctor says that there's 80 or 90% chance that your child would have some type of handicap. They don't know what kind of handicap. Couldn't be specific. So at that time, well, still now, my parents are born again Christian, so they went to church. My father went to church really young. As a young boy, he did maintenance for a church when he was 5-6 years old. So he spent a lot of time in the church. And my mom too. She taught Sunday school at a church. So she was a Christian. So that's how they met and got married. But going back to before I was born, that's what the doctor announced, and they just kept praying and praying. There was nothing to do. I was going to be out in the world very soon. Yeah. So
you're coming out no matter what.
Exactly. So they just prayed. A lot of people prayed for us, the whole church community, friends, family. And when I was born, there was no sign of anything. I was 110% healthy boy. There was no issues at all. So even the doctors couldn't believe that.
Praise God, man.
Yeah. So my parents really wanted to name me Faith. But they knew it was a girl's name, so they thought, oh, okay, maybe we'll use the name, the word, the letter K. I mean, K sounds a lot like for a boy's name, But to them, that's it. Now you have Caitlin, you have Katie, you have Catherine. So they just, hey, let's switch the K to an F, the F to a K, and that's how I got my name.
That's a beautiful story, man.
Yeah. So that's always been the story. Ever since they told me that when I was young, I've been trying to share that with everybody else. That's who I am.
Yeah. So you never felt an outsider at all. You felt like you were welcomed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had good friends around, and they supported me for sure. There's always one kid who would laugh and all that, but for sure at the moment, at when they laugh, it would be humiliating, or it's embarrassing. But at the end, I knew where I came from. I know who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. Uh, Even though at that young age, it wasn't easy, but I went through it. You know, yeah, yeah. I would just correct the teacher, and she said my name. I'll just stand up right away. It's me. I'll just say my name. I'll give her my name. That's it.
Oh,
To
you
avoid,
actually stand up and, hey, by the way.
I'll yell out my name. It's actually Kate. And sometimes I would just look at her attendance sheet before, at the first day of school. The teacher doesn't know anybody, so I'll go see the teacher first. I say my name is actually spelled Kate. So you could tick that off. You could cross it off. So when you actually, because teachers, they all say the kids, the student's name first class, right? So I'll actually go to the teacher and tell her, hey, that's my name, just to avoid confusion.
I go through that too with my last name because my last name is Dellosa. It's Dellosa. And people says here Delosa. In Spanish, you say Deosa. The double L's becomes Y.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But in Filipino, if you have double L's,
Yeah.
the second L becomes Y. In Spanish, they'll say Deosa.
Yeah.
In Filipino, we'll say Deliosa.
Okay. Huh.
Growing up, did you suffer from dual identity crisis?
No, I knew I'm a Canadian-born Chinese. That's my identity. My memory is very vague from Hong Kong when I left, so it will remain my home. But Canada is my new home now, because I don't remember it so much, and it just gets forgotten somehow. But and now everything's changed. It's not the same anymore. You can go back to the past. So I might as well start calling here Canada my home. And it's not like there's no Asian community here. There's a big population.
So growing up, I'm Chinese descent, but I am Canadian as well. And you never had a problem, even in teenage year, you didn't try to avoid listening to Chinese music or avoid any Chinese thing.
Not at all. My parents had a real good impact, influence on us. They sent us to Chinese school to learn, to keep the language. They always spoke to us in Chinese, so we don't forget it. We took classes, and then it's tough when you go to school. You speak in English or in French, so you forget. You just want to speak in English too as well, like the other kids. But I remember talking to my parents in English. They said, "Don't talk us in English. You're Chinese. You speak Chinese. You speak Chinese."
So your kid speaks Chinese?
Very little. Really hard.
It's difficult. You know that saying, mother's tongue? That really makes sense. Speaking about that, just for the people that doesn't know, Kate's wife is French Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you find any challenges on that?
No. When we immigrated here, French became my mother tongue almost, because I knew how to speak French very fluently as much as I spoke Chinese. So I quickly adapted to the culture here and adapted to the language, and it just immersed into me. There was some time where I forgotten about that, and try to keep my Chinese level. But then when I met my wife, it kind of, I have a good French background, so it helps, and it just went very well. And yeah, no, I don't have any issues.
How about when you come over to your parents? Like you said, they don't like you speaking English to them.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you guys speak Chinese. Do you feel like you have to translate all the time for her?
No. my wife understands a bit of Chinese too now. So and my parents, it's just my parents. They speak in English to her. She understands English. So we operate in three languages when there's family around.
That's pretty impressive, man. I want to ask you about your opinion on, Asians. They look at us, we're the model minority. We just work, we don't complain, we keep our heads down, and we just keep on working. What do you think about that? Do you think positive way, or do you look at it like as a negative?
It's a positive thing. Like for us, it makes us stand out. I mean, and we set an example too. Something that my dad always taught me was you give you a job, you just do it. You don't. They hired you to work. I mean, just work. You could refuse, but I mean, be grateful for what you have.
That's the word. Be grateful.
Yeah, and try not to complain as much as possible.
Complete meaning of model minority your dad is. This is the job. Be the best at your job and shut the fuck up. That's my family too. They just do their job. What's wrong with doing your job? Be the best at your job.
Exactly. Whatever you do. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes most Canadians, this is not a knock or anything. I'm not saying all. I'm saying some Canadians that I have met, they have this sense of privilege. Like when we used to work together, I've met people there. There was this specific guy that stuck with me. He's angry and he keeps blaming the government for something. I'm not scared of those conversations. So I went up to him and said, what's the problem? What do you think the government's not doing for you? You know what he said? He said, they should give me money. I said, okay, why would they give you money? And he said, with confidence, because I was born here.
Because you have confidence.
I just looked at him and said, this guy's crazy, man. Because you were born here? That's why, that line when people says, oh, these immigrants, they're stealing our jobs. It doesn't even make sense. Stealing your job, we're doing the shitty jobs that you guys don't want to do.
Exactly.
Okay? And we're doing it without complaining. We're just doing our best.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We don't complain. We just keep on chugging along. Like what your dad said. He's a smart man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, you can complain if you want. But what are you going to do?
It's not going to solve anything.
Exactly. Are there pop stars in China, like how South Korea is?
Yeah, and everything. I'm not in sports. We're not a big fan in sports, but mostly in the entertainment industry. Actors, actresses. Yeah, definitely. Jackie Chan. I mean, he's an international now, but there's a few like Chow Yun-fat. He's popular too. There's also the chubby guy.
Who's the chubby guy?
You don't know the chubby guy? What's his name? Marshall. No, he used to be in a lot of in Jackie Chan's movies.
Oh, I remember this guy. I never know his name, but I know that he does this kung fu movies.
Yeah,
which I love. Dude, I love kung fu movies. Did you grow up watching kung fu movies?
Oh yeah, of course. All Jackie Chan movies.
We watch everything, and the best. I don't know why, but they put it up after school.
Okay.
So that's our after school special kind of deal. So we get home, kung fu movies on. Like my cousins are mostly boys, and we'll watch the kung fu. And I swear to God, as soon as the movie finish, we'll go. Pooyah! We'll just chop each other, and then that's it. I mean, rumble in the jungle over there. I love it. And then growing up, like I said, my mom worked in Hong Kong. She used to send me this. We call it kung fu shoes.
Okay.
You know the shoes that is slip-ons?
Yeah.
Do you remember
it's
those?
like a slipper, black and very thin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes gray, sometimes black. She sends us loads of those because she tried to sell them too. And growing up in grade school, I used to wear them because we didn't have shoes because we're poor. And I got made fun of that, but then I start seeing it in Jackie Chan movies. I'm like, dude, these are cool shoes, man.
They're comfortable.
Yeah, I love it. And it's funny that hipsters wears them now.
Yeah. They're light. It's like they're Crocs. I think they're the predecessors of the Nikes, just without the air bubble.
And the child labor.
That's right.
Do you know the brand Giordano?
Yes, with a
Oh,
G, right?
dude, I love those shirts, man.
Oh, that was they have really nice style and fashion. Yeah, doesn't exist here. They know if you tell anybody, they don't know what it is. You're like, what is this?
I went back to visit Philippines last year. Was it last year? I don't know. Anyways, and I went to look for those clothes. And back in the day, Giordano's logo is the frog.
Oh, okay.
Do you
I
remember
didn't know.
this?
No, I don't know
Anyways,
that.
it's a frog, and I love that frog. So I made sure I'm gonna buy a shirt. So I went to the Giordano store, and they don't have the frog anymore, dude. They have the stupid horse or something. I'm like, I'm not buying that shit, man. I want my frog. But my sister was going to Hong Kong
Okay.
I think it was the next year or something.
Yeah.
She was going to visit Hong Kong, and I said, you better make sure you buy me Giordano shirt. And she did look for the frog, but the frog doesn't exist anymore. It's extinct.
Can't find that anymore.
No, but she did buy me a shirt, Giordano shirt, that it says Giordano. I said, I love it, but I want the frog, dude.
Not the old one. Yeah,
When was the last time you went back to visit?
the year 2000. That was the only time I went back.
For how long?
It was probably for a month. Everybody in my family, well, my mom and dad and my sister, they went back at least twice. I'm the only one who went back once ever since we emigrated here.
One question. What advice would you give immigrant parents that are trying to raise children?
I would say adapt as much as possible to Canada, but don't forget where you came from. Try to have a balanced lifestyle, have a balanced education. I know it's hard. It's really difficult, especially if you have younger kids. Well, even older kids, more mature. But just don't get discouraged. Remind yourself where you came from. It's important. Not to be like, oh, Asian power, but be proud of your culture, your origin. Because it's special, that's who you are. Younger kids maybe won't understand that, but you gotta drill into their heads. You have to help them as a parent. I mean, you have to guide them. That's our responsibility. So
Beautiful words. Do you have any more stories you would like to share?
yeah. So back in elementary school, I was in grade 3. There was a white girl that I really liked, and then I asked her to dance. And our school had really few dances, so I asked her to dance. And then I told my parents. She accepted. We're gonna go to dance together. And my parents, they give me a weird comments like, white girls are very open, so be careful. Or they're not used to me. Like, they would think that I would like Asian girls more than white girls, but to me, there's no difference. If I like somebody, I like somebody. It just so happens that I like this white girl, and I remember first dance was incredible because it's actually the first girl that I ever had to dance. Yeah, a slow dance, so it was special that I liked too. I liked other girls too, but there were Asians. But this was like the first white girl that I liked in school, and she accepted the dance. And I'm a very shy person, So yeah, going back to my parents, it was very strange to them, like, hey, my son likes white girls. He couldn't have chosen a yellow girl or Asian girl. Another story I can tell is there was an older in my childhood, maybe in my teen years, where I invited a girl over when my dad was there, so he was on the first floor. She just came by. We're just gonna play some video games in the basement, and it was a day off. My dad was here. I invited her. She's a friend. I don't. There's nothing between us. I got a call when we were downstairs in the basement from my mom, who was at home. From my mom, who was at work.
I love that you're in the basement and she's calling you.
Yeah, and she said your dad called me and said he's not comfortable you being in the basement, the two of you together. Can you please go upstairs? So my dad is a very not a shy person, but he's not very
Reserved.
open. Yeah. So these kind of things he won't. Now it's better. We have a better relationship, but we talk about things, personal things. But back then, as a teenager, he wasn't as open. So he went through my mom to talk to me because he knew I was closer to my mom. Not that anything would happen between me and the girl. I mean, I'm a teenager, but he didn't feel comfortable me being alone with a girl. In our basement, even though he's upstairs.
Could walk in any time.
But there's a little anecdote there. A few things happen. Yeah.
Do you have any advice to anyone immigrating anywhere? What do you think they should do or prepare for their big move?
Well, for when I came here, I was really young. There's no preparation. I just followed my parents, right? But if I can get an advice for older people like teenagers or young adults who are moving to a different country, just do some research. Maybe you can always say no. I mean, find ways, talk to your parents, or discuss it. Make sure you really like. If you really want to move there, but if you don't have a choice, just be prepared. I mean, to face, because there will be challenges. There will be obstacles. So you just got to be ready. Have faith in yourself. I mean, yeah. If you, but also confidence, good self-esteem. Be courageous. Don't give up. All these positive things. Just be positive.
I think we did it. Do you have anything more to add? I want to thank you again for doing the podcast.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm Aaron Deliosa, and this is An Immigrant's Life. I want to thank you for listening. And as always, if you want to contact the show about anything, or if you want to be a guest on the show, go to the Facebook page, An Immigrant's Life Podcast, or send your email to animmigrant'slife@yahoo.com. To show your support for the show, please like, share, review, and subscribe to the Facebook page and however you get your podcast.